So, within a week, as promised, we beat the final boss of the Elden Ring DLC. We were challenged by Elden, and we did it. Let's go! Woo! We beat the game. Like the next day, or within 2 days, our motherboard breaks. We had not done another stream, and our computer won't turn on. No matter what. At first, I thought it was the power supply. I go to Best Buy, I get a new power supply. I come back, install the whole new power supply. New power supply wasn't the problem. It was the motherboard. Get to undo the power supply, take it all back to Best Buy. But before I do that, I look online for a new computer. Now, I was already planning to upgrade my computer a year from now. Already planning, because it's a 7-year-old computer. Was already planning to upgrade next year. Didn't really have the funds to upgrade this year. But computer broke early. Might as well go ahead. So I'm looking online and I build my, like, basically what I think I'm going to get, just to get a baseline of what I might want. And it was on a website where you can, you know, customize all sorts of different things. They had a pre-built version that was on sale for the 4th of July sale. And I modified a bunch of things about the sale version. And changed like all sorts of stuff about it to make it be more bang for my buck, and get a baseline around $1,000. I go to Best Buy because I had to return my power supply anyway, and they take it back, no questions asked. They don't even look inside. I could have put a brick in there. Anyway, we get this sales guy. And this sales guy's like 45-ish. He's got bald completely on top with like the accountant side hair. Or like, you know, the Cloud City guy that's like the robot and he's got like the robot accountant look. That with hair. That's this guy. I explain like, you know, I'm wanting current gen, you know, the newest version of stuff, but like slightly above entry level, basically. You know, very basic, around $1,000 version. This dude starts trying to upsell me. He's like, oh, you don't even want this graphics card, which is still more powerful than the graphics card I had on my 7-year-old computer, but I digress. You don't even want this graphics card. No, no, no. And he starts like trying to upsell me. And so eventually I get him to go and like look in their system for stuff. And I find literally part for part, Elden, exactly what I had built the night before. From the vendor I was going to be ordering it from online. Literally, part for part, exactly how I had customized the computer from the night before. Keep in mind, I had to change a bunch of stuff. It was the same computer, customized exactly how I had customized it. Part for part, every single one down the list. Insanity. Exactly what I was looking for. And because Best Buy was also having a 4th of July sale, it was actually cheaper. And I didn't have to pay for shipping. So it was even cheaper. Now, sales dude comes back. I point out the computer I want. I don't tell him about like the extreme amazement of detail that I had just given all of you. I just tell him like, hey, I think I'm going to go for this one. He tries to upsell me harder. He's like, oh, you don't want that one? It's not a good one. You want to be able to play games next year. Because this computer, which will definitely be able to play computer games next year, won't even be able to play computer games next year. No, no, no. You want this significantly more, like, this other PC he was trying to get me to buy was like 1,700. Keep in mind, I'm looking at one around 1,000. Like, a little bit more than 1,000. He's wanting me to go for a $1,700 one. I, like, let him guide me around because I did have him research stuff, so I'm like, hey, you know, show me some of the other stuff, because I told him, you know, if you could find me a really good deal, I'd go for it. Nothing's as good of a deal as the one that I'd picked out the night before. Everything's like way more expensive, and you're way overpaying for stuff. I just, you know, keep in mind, I didn't even really have the funds to get a computer already, and so I was just wanting like slightly better than entry level, just, you know, which was still way better than the computer I had. So that's all I was wanting to do. So I finally convinced the guy that that's the computer I want. And he's like, okay. Let me tell you about the Best Buy new reward program. For like $60 a month or something ridiculous, you can have 60 days to bring back this computer, no questions asked. Otherwise, it's just 14 days. And you don't even have to stay subscribed. You can just unsubscribe after the first month or whatever. It's like 60 bucks a month for this stupid thing. I don't know where Best Buy thought that one up. But anyway. Who the hell is going to pay it? Anyway. Maybe it's worth it and I just don't know all the details. He didn't explain all that. He just was explaining this. Best Buy used to be my favorite store. It kind of still is, because keep in mind, I did find exactly what I was looking for. Which in Oklahoma is really hard to do with a gaming PC. But anyway, he tries to sell me on this plan. I'm like, no, not interested. He then starts to explain, with this plan, you have a posthumous price match. So like 60 days after my purchase, if, let's say, you know, the back to school sales are better than the 4th of July sales on this specific item, I can posthumously price match. Keep in mind, I have to spend $60 to be able to have the possibility of posthumously price matching. I'm like, no, it takes this dude a lot of convincing to realize that I really did mean no. And he thinks I'm kind of crazy for not taking that up, because apparently they have really good sales during back to school. Keep in mind, I just found the exact computer I wanted at a better price than the vendor the same vendor that I was going to be purchasing it from online, and not having to pay shipping. So there was like no way that they were going to have an astronomically better price than what was already in front of me, because Best Buy had already marked this thing down a lot for the 4th of July sale. So anyway, I finally convinced him I don't want that. He then tries to sell me on a protection plan. Now, for some reason, this protection plan is $200 for a $1,000 purchase. That's 20% extra, just on the off chance something were to go wrong. Now, they don't tell you that there's already a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, but if you looked on the box, which I did when he stepped away, it clearly says there's a 1-year manufacturer warranty. But he's trying to sell me on like the 2-year protection plan that that is 20% of the cost of the item, which is insanity. Like 10% is probably the most I'd be willing to pay on a protection plan, unless it's something really, really expensive, like a car or something. That's probably the most I'd be willing to pay. Otherwise, I'd just, you know, let's say it breaks, because it's going to be a year for the manufacturer warranty. So let's say it breaks a year from now. I'd just buy the entry level of the new, you know, because there's going to be all new stuff next year. I'd just buy the entry level of the new stuff next year. And this is also assuming that I couldn't just fix the issue myself for $200. Because most of the components in the thing aren't even worth, you know, $200 by themselves. And in theory, you would only have one component that would break unless there was something crazy that went on. So anyway, he's really trying to sell me super hard on the $200 protection plan that I absolutely don't need. And now I'm really starting to get upset with this guy. And he finally realizes I'm not going to do the protection plan. He's like, okay, I get it. You don't want to do the protection plan. But remember, you know, most people, you know, they might not, that don't do the, this is what he said. Most people that don't do the protection plan do the Best Buy 60-day thing. And he tries to sell me on the thing that I already said I don't want. I'm like, dude, just let me leave with the damn PC. Just let me leave. You have a sale in your hand. You're about to lose it, buddy. Like, I don't say any of that. I'm just like, no, let me buy the PC. He finally lets me just buy the PC. But before he did that, I forgot. He's like, and I swear he's almost out of breath. He's like, can you just tell me why you're not at all interested in the protection plan or the other plan? Can you just tell me why? I'm like, dude, I'm just not interested. Like, no. Just let me buy the PC. And he's like, okay, I'll just let you buy the PC. I buy this PC. I take it home. Finally. It works perfectly. Everything I wanted. I found it wasn't on the box, but I found out later it was literally like the exact motherboard I was wanting and everything. Like literally part for part, every single thing on this computer was exactly what I was wanting. Fantastic. Also, I tried to plug in my 2 hard drives from my old computer, and they both work. Fantastic. Now I've saved myself a ton of reinstall time. We're off to the races. Super good. And I finally have a new computer. But man, it was a lot of work to get there. So anyway, you know, get the new computer set up, start doing teardown on my old computer, and, or, you know, I just start to get my old computer ready for resale, because I usually try to go to a mom and pop and resell my old computers, especially since they don't have hard drives in them. That way I don't have to worry about data being compromised or anything like that. I just sell my old computer. On my old computer, the door never quite closed right on the computer. It never quite got there. And, you know, it just needed a little bit of finagling, and I think I would be able to get it to close right, because on the way it was, you had to literally, like, put your hand against it and, like, hold onto the back part of, like, an outcrop to hold the door, and then screw in the door with like little turn screws. Super annoying. Didn't shut right. It used to, but what had happened was I had bent the door like back too far on the hinge one time when I was repairing the computer. I didn't mean to. I didn't realize. I just thought the hinge would go like full 360. Turns out the hinge has a hard stop, and if you bend past the hard stop, which... So I had it like this was a long time ago. I had it on a table, and the door was like hanging off the edge, and I just assumed it would, you know, turn the whole way and just hang off and it'd be fine. It wasn't. The hinge got messed up and it got bent or whatever, and so the door wouldn't close right. Fast forward back to where we were. I finally get the door to close right. I fix it. But in the process of fixing the tampered glass door, I notice there's a tiny little crack, or like a little chip that came off of it. I don't think anything of it. I screw in, you know, and don't even have to hold on like with the crazy clamp. I just, you know, barely am holding on to it and screw in the door. And I get up to walk away. I get about 10 feet away, and I hear the sound of tempered glass starting to crack. I turn around super quick, and literally, like out of the movie Ice Age, this crack just explodes, and the tempered glass all comes falling down. Lauren. Into my PC, onto the floor, into the living room. I'm in the kitchen at a kitchen table. Into the living room. It goes the other way into the laundry room. It goes into the hallway beyond the laundry room. And this is tempered glass, which I knew from, I think it was a Linus Tech Tips video, that once tempered glass breaks, it will break. And it has kinetic energy like stored inside of it. And so on the floor, the glass was exploding up, Lauren. It was exploding up glass. There was glass exploding up. The old PC. All this is the old PC. New PC is fine. We're streaming on it right now. Nothing's wrong with new PC right now. Please, fingers crossed. Everybody hopes. Anyway. The old PC, which I was trying to fix for resale. Exploding glass from the floor. No, if it was the new PC, it'd still be within the 14 days so I could take it back to Best Buy. And the new PC has the new style doors where they don't have hinges at all. They just have two little prongs that push into the case and hold it in with like, not a hinge on the bottom, but like a holder that like basically functions as a hinge with gravity, but there's no actual hinge. So there's no moving part. So this will never happen with my new PC. The hinge will never break. I'll never have to try to fix it. So anyway, this was after, I forgot to mention this. This was when the glass broke. It was at 1 a.m. after a long day at work in retail. And now, I instantly go and get a vacuum. Because I don't have a broom inside. I need to get an indoor broom, apparently, for such occurrences. And I start to vacuum up all the glass. And as I'm vacuuming up all this glass, it becomes apparent that the regular vacuum is not capable of vacuuming up all the glass. Because it can't get in like corners, and it can't get in the grooves of the tile, and it's just not picking it up from those places. So I get an attachment and use the attachment to go over the basically half my house with a fine-tooth comb essentially, and vacuum up half my house with the attachment. And inside the computer case and on the table and everything. It was like out of a Die Hard movie, man. There was just glass everywhere. And to get to the vacuum, I had to like, I stepped on glass a little bit. Luckily I had socks on. But yeah, it was bad because the glass went past me. Anyway, at like 2:30, we finally get all the glass done. An hour and a half of just cleaning up glass, man. I wake up, I go to bed immediately after that. Wake up the next morning. Turns out we did a good job. There were like a couple pieces of glass, but we basically got it all. After that, I then start to disassemble my computer because no longer can I sell it with this case with the broken door. The non-existent door, because that glass completely shattered. There was no door left. It was just the hinges. There was not a single piece of glass that remained. It was all gone. Into a million pieces. And I start to disassemble my PC, and, you know, I keep all the components, except for the motherboard, because I knew it was busted, for resale. And I disassemble the entire case, screw by screw, and this was a huge case. It's way bigger than my new computer, because at the time I was doing video editing on YouTube, and I thought I needed a ton of drive bays, and, you know, old school drive bays, and so it was a huge case to have all those drive bays and everything. So today I finally got it all taken apart. It took me like a work week of free time, so like an hour a day for a week. And I went to the place that had bought previous computers from me. And apparently, there's no longer even remotely a chip shortage on like old stuff. Nobody is buying old graphics cards, apparently. They had a ton of 1080 Ti's already, which is the graphics card I had. They weren't even remotely interested in getting another one. At least not till like after back to school. Apparently nobody wants 1080 Ti's anymore because they were the graphics card right before ray tracing came out, and everybody, like, if anybody's going to buy a graphics card, it's going to have ray tracing in it from now on, apparently, according to this sales guy. Which he had the 1080 Ti's in stock to prove it, so I believe him. So anyway, he did buy a CPU from me, but I didn't sell him anything else. He wasn't interested in any other components that I had. I called up another computer store that I know about. They said, hey, you know, take photos of it, because they were about to close. They're like, take photos of it, email it to us, we'll get back with you tomorrow. So I'm hoping that they will buy the 1080 Ti. They weren't scared away from the idea of buying a 1080 Ti like the other guy was. So I'm hoping I can sell them my 1080 Ti. Hey everyone, future Andang here. Just want to clear a few things up. I did eventually sell my graphics card and other PC components for about 20% total of the original cost of the computer, which is fantastic. Great to have 7-year-old components still worth something and get a little bit of money back for that. Really super happy about that. Also, I figured you guys probably want to know what's in the new computer. I realized I didn't cover that in the original video, so here is a graphic that shows all of that stuff. As you could probably tell, it will indeed play video games next year. Sorry, Best Buy employee, but it will. Also, I figured we'd end off with some nice shots of the new computer and its fans, so here you go with that as well. Till next time, peace!